Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with Scraptember Day 9, which is metallics. And I'm combining this with my Scrapbooking the Day Away design team sketch that the lovely Anne-Marie Bryant has created. The prompt, like I said, is metallics from the Scrappy Sisters. And here is the sketch by Anne-Marie Bryant. And I'm going to turn it on its side because my pictures are vertical. So my dear friend Courtney and I, who work the Opera House together, went to see the One Night of Queen while we worked it. But we also got to watch it, which was phenomenal. So I've got pictures from that. Thought this would be the perfect time. Reasons to Smile was a good one because there's lots of metallics in it. I have these. Okay, there's 4 there, but really only 3 of them should have been in my hand. I grabbed one that's not a metallic. I'm going to use 2 of those. So I've got my papers, my embellishments, my metallics, my pictures, this awesome sketch, and the prompt. So let's see how this goes. So my plan was to get as many metallic-y things on here. So I start with this white paper. I know that it's going to stand out because I picked black as my background, so the metallic would stand out better. So I picked this camera paper to make my circle, and I made it 4.5 inches. And then I have these circles that I cut out on my Cricut a long time ago. I've written the size on them. I'm not comfortable using a trimmer or my Cricut to cut pictures. So I made these so I could cut pictures. And I literally hold my thumb in the middle as tight as I can without bending in the picture, of course. And then I just use my little scissors and cut around the circle. So that is what I did. It's not perfect, but it's as close as it's going to get. So I took 2 strips of this kind of sunshine or ray, these little the paper that's got the multicolors, because I want those as my 2 stripes that on the sketch are on the bottom. And then I made an 8-inch orange square and a 7.5-inch black square. I would have made it bigger. I wasn't paying attention to the pictures being fully in that square. I was more paying attention to how much space I thought there was on the layout. So it looked like a maybe 8-inch square. Probably would have done 9 or 10-inch, but it's fine. I just have my pictures coming off the side, which I'm okay with. See, right here is a 1/2 inch off on either side. I did measure. I'm actually using my mat behind me, behind where I work, to measure, which is something I don't always do. I eyeball it a lot, that I figured since this was a pretty easy thing to do that I would do it. I put these papers down to where you can tell that they are consecutive. Like the next paper is a continuation of the one that I'm putting on here now, because the blue continues on even though there's a black gap in between. And in the end, once the square gets put on there, that's all you can really see anyway, is the blue where it connects up at the top. So it didn't have to be perfect, but I did want it to be, in that order and not like flip-flopped. So I mat that down, and then I'm going to put it on here. Pretty much I'm sticking to, other than turning it, I'm sticking to the sketch really well. Except, like I said, my square is a little bit smaller than Anne-Marie's sketch is. I tuck this in a little bit underneath the pictures. I originally thought I would cover where that's seen between the 2 pictures, but I don't. Like, I thought I'd put like a flower or something there to cover that, but it never really felt like it was needed. It would have only covered up like people in the audience, which would have been fine, but the floral cluster that I put on here doesn't look right there. It looks better over to the side. So that's what I do. So I start with a cluster down here at the bottom right corner, because all that's covering is people in the audience. I am on the gallery. Nope, I always do that. I am on the mezzanine, which is the 2nd floor. And so there's, of course, lots of people from me to them. And typically we don't take pictures, but because it was allowed, I went ahead and took a couple pictures. And then, of course, the picture of me and Courtney with the sign was before any of the guests got there. So, and then on the sketch, she's got little fishtail banners coming out. I cut this little orange floral tag that had a glittery trace around it. I cut that in half and put half underneath each of the pictures. And I'm going to use that one. You're going to see me, I think, see me date stamp. I may have done it off camera. I cannot remember. I do put the date on here. I do journal in here, but I don't think I do all of that on camera. But I do use both those little tags under there for writing information. I want to cover this little spot next to the picture because the paper I matted my pictures on was a little smaller than I needed it to be. And so I left it, I didn't cut the branding strip off the top of the little 6x8 paper. And so you can't see it anywhere except for there was a little hole. And so I just cover that over with this little heart and this little ribbon because why not? Using my paper to the best of my abilities. On the background paper, you briefly saw me splatter antique bronze and tarnished brass mica spray by Ranger. They're Tim Holtz Distress mica stains. And that is what that shiny shimmery is in the background. I'm going to put this Enjoy, which came from the ephemera pack. And then I put that little Amazing. And then I'm going to add with the little wood grain tiles, the word Queen. Because this was, One Night of Queen. And I sang a lot. Luckily, that was okay. Sometimes in those things, they don't encourage you to do that, but people were singing and dancing, and the guy who was performing like Freddie Mercury was, telling people to get up out of their seats, and it was hysterical. We had a lovely time. It was a last minute thing that I got to do. Originally, I did not get that on my list of events to work, and they must have had somebody back out last minute, and so I was super excited to be able to go. And I got my design team layout done for this week. So I'm super excited about that. If you're interested in inspiration from sketches or from tutorials, things like that, the lovely Anne Marie creates that stuff all the time on her website. And that it will be linked in my description box. There is a free site, a paid site, all of that, and it is well worth all the fantasticalness. And then, of course, I hope y'all are following along with Scraptember. Lots of fun prompts every day, and I'm really enjoying getting memories documented and getting some stash used up and having such a fun time. I would love it if you give me a thumbs up if you like my video and or my layout. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love. And happy scrapping.